Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Two Gamer Dads podcast. As usual, we have our resident Two Gamer Dads. My name is Ian, and with me I have, as usual, Marv.
Hey,
And we also, as per our custom, we have another guest that we have today. His name is Zhifeng. Hi,
Hey
Zhifeng.
guys, nice to meet you.
Nice. Yeah, we've been trying to get all our friends, all our common friends in, and this is one of the latest. Just now he asked us a question, which was, why do we do this podcast? So I thought, just as a basic introduction, actually, Marv and I have been toying with the idea of a podcast for quite a long
wow,
time because we
yeah.
always
I think
talk about,
during circuit breaker, like 2 years ago.
yeah, yeah. Singapore went through like a quarantine period, and we thought, I think at the time we kind of like toyed around with the idea, but it never really came to fruition. And then I think after a while, we just said, let's just start doing something and we'll invite. And I think the idea was always, just to talk about life. And then with the fact that we became parents over the past year and a half now, that added like a new dimension to the podcast that we
Yeah.
can talk not just about the stuff that we like to do, but the struggles of parenting
But the
as
idea
well.
evolved though. Like 2
Yeah.
years ago, it was a podcast
Cheers about.
about backlog, clearing our backlog,
Yeah. Yeah.
which we tried for like the first 2
Two
episodes.
episodes.
And then after we realized
Yeah,
that it's
we
easier to just like talk about.
more stuff. We should go back to that soon though. We can do one in the future. We played
Portal.
we played Portal. Have you played it? Did you finish it? Just,
Yes, I have Portal 1
yeah.
and 2.
Yeah. So Portal 2 I haven't played yet. I need to go play it actually. But yeah, anyway, okay, so that's how it all started. Maybe I just wanna get to know you a little bit better. So, and this is new for me too, guys, because Zhifs is our common friend. I will honestly say that I don't know much about Zhifs and Zhifeng, and I would like to know more. So, Zhifeng, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You can choose to share what you want. Tell us about yourself and your family. What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a father of two. So I have a daughter and a
Master.
son. My daughter Alexa she's 28 months, so 2 years, 4 months. So she's very much a toddler, and I can tell you more about that later. It's very different from, I think, you guys' kids who are not yet 2 years old.
Yeah.
The challenges are totally different. And I also have an 11-month-old. His name is Theodore. And professionally, I have a background working for like a bunch of different startups. I had some experience working for corporate as a consultant. Right now, I'm working for a venture building company, and I'm a product manager. So that means I kind of orchestrate different types of people to realize the vision for a
Mm,
product that we eventually bring to market and
mm,
sell.
mm,
So
mm.
that's what I do professionally. I'm a gamer, which is why I'm here, I think. Or maybe a better way to put it right now is I'm a dad first and aspiring to be more of a gamer all the time. Yeah, I really enjoy like cooking and food. So like
Mm.
I don't get to do that very often because of my
Oh
kids,
yeah,
but I do
your
it when I
apple
can.
pie. I will
Oh
always
yeah, oh
remember
my
your apple
gosh,
Wait,
that
pie.
was a long time ago.
wow, that is a long time ago. I think that was like 3-4 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
At Chris's place, right?
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
I
Yeah.
don't. He's not even living there anymore.
No, he's
Yeah,
not. He
yeah, he
moved
moved
away.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So that's a little bit about me.
cool. We'll get to know a little bit more you as we go along. So I think in terms of the ranking of the gamer dads, Lam is obviously the master. He has 5 kids, and I don't know how he
Four
does
kids,
it.
right? Four
Yes,
kids.
five.
Oh,
I
Four,
yes,
thought
four,
so
he
he
has
four.
has four,
four.
four,
Yeah,
four, four, four.
one
Yes,
boy
four.
and three
Oh,
girls.
But even then, like just the idea, like it's not addition, right? It's like multiplicative, right?
Yeah.
But I think from what I know from people who I talk to who have I have a friend who has 5 kids. They say after 3, the numbers doesn't don't matter anymore. Like it just becomes numb. Like it doesn't like the worst is 3 apparently, and then after that it's just like whatever. I don't care. So yeah, so in terms of like the order, of like seniority. We have Lam at the top, and then Zhifs at 2, and then the two.
Very
Do we have
distant
anybody
two.
else
Yeah.
who has kids? No, right?
Joe.
Oh yeah, Joe.
Joe is
Yeah,
one.
Mm.
One boy.
Joe is one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Since we're on that topic about gaming and or aspiring to get back into gaming, have you been? I know Marv and I have been playing some games, but what was the last game you played?
Okay, so I am playing some games now. Once once in a few times a week, I get a little bit of time here and there, pockets of
Yeah.
time. So I'm only playing single player games because it's low commitment, etc. The last game I played is actually it's called Particle Fleet Emergence. I don't think most people have heard of it. It's an indie game by this guy called Knucklecracker Studios. And it's essentially a type of tower defense, like a TD. But the wonderful thing about this game is that it's two-dimensional, right? It's like top-down view. But it's one of those games where it doesn't have fancy 3D graphics or anything like that. But the gameplay for what it is just like, in my opinion, phenomenal, right? Plus, it's actually set in a universe, which is, I don't know what the official name of it is, but I'm going to call it. It's set in this universe called the Creeper World universe because there's another series of games by the same guy called
Oh,
Creeper World, and there's
okay.
Creeper World 2, Creeper World 3, which is the first one I played,
Yep.
and then very recently there's Creeper World 4, which is 3D. So that's like the latest game, I think,
Oh
where
yeah.
he successfully managed to, I don't know, use some kind of 3D engine for that. But the basic premise is the same. They are all variations of a
Yeah.
similar like tower defense concept, and um, I really, I really like TDs, so this is like right up my alley.
It's so
Um,
it's so funny because when you say Creeper World, I thought of a stalking simulator, like
of a
Creeper,
what?
of a stalking simulator. But when you actually look at it, I'm
Yeah,
looking at the
Isn't
screenshots on it now. It's
Creeper
really interesting.
that thing from Minecraft?
I
The
mean,
yeah,
it's a
bigger
big,
guy.
yeah. I mean,
it's
I
a
think there are a
beast.
lot of things called creeper. Yeah.
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 Mm.
But I guess in this case, Creeper is like a race or like an alien race or something like that.
Okay, so I can tell you the premise, right? The premise
No
of
spoiler.
the Creeper World games is that there's this like alien substance. It's like think of it as like a slime that covers the ground, and
Yep.
it like destroys everything it touches.
Okay.
And it appears because somehow like a spore will land on the planet, and then like the whole premise of the game is how over like millions of years successful civilizations of humanity like rise, and then become like galactic,
Yeah.
then the creeper will somehow show up and then like destroy them and basically send them back to the Stone Age until like
Oh,
a
it's
few hundred
Halo.
thousand years later.
It's basically Halo.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess there are some
And also
parallels
Mass
there,
Effect.
but
Yeah.
yeah, sort of. I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're right.
Uh,
Um, but the thing I like about it, so not just the gameplay, but they have this story,
yeah.
right? It's just text on screen, right? There's no like voice acting or anything like that, but that ties all these different games into the same universe, and I think it's
Yeah.
really cool. And there's always some kind of like mind blowing plot twist, that because
So,
it's like the timeline is over like literally like millions of years in the game.
so there's a campaign.
There is a campaign, yeah. And the
Oh,
and the recent
okay.
games have very, very strong like community aspect where people can create their own maps,
Oh,
and so there's a like endless basically
yeah.
replayability. Yeah.
Wow. Mom, this is a world of games that we have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no
TD
idea
lah,
how I
right?
found out about this.
It's
Yeah.
I mean the base game is a TD lah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean if you don't enjoy TD, you won't go and seek these kind of games out.
But I think we all enjoyed like did you play Hero Siege just then? Do you
What?
remember Hero
What?
Siege? It wasn't another like last time do you remember you
Oh,
played
you mean in
in
Warcraft
Warcraft
3?
3? Yeah, do you know that was
Oh,
my
yeah,
first
yeah,
experience with TDs.
yeah. Yeah.
Was that not yours?
I have never enjoyed TD, so
Oh really?
yeah.
Oh okay, which is fine.
In Warcraft 3, right? The original TD was the one that had like it's 4 players, And then like
correct.
it
And
has
then you see who
these
dies first, basically.
rudimentary pathways. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think that's probably where I first
that's
encountered
where
tower
I
defense.
I first encountered it. But I can totally understand that, Marv. Like, if it's a very specific genre that I don't
Yep.
think any, because it's like you have it's like there's periods of it's downtime and uptime, right? Because the uptime is where you actually start doing your to build, and then the downtime is you just watch and you realize, oh crap, I messed up. Like you start to see the cracks in your. Is that what you enjoy about TDs? Like there's the creation aspect, and then there's the problem solving aspect of like, oh, I messed up this way.
I think it's the problem solving aspect, definitely.
Yeah.
So I don't play many like classic TDs where it's like downtime, uptime, and the Creeper World games are not like that. It's sort of like real time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the other reason why it's maybe a bit niche is because TDs, I guess, like are like a sub genre of the strategy genre,
Yeah.
and I think strategy games are just not so popular these days.
No, they're dying.
Yeah,
There's a
they're dying
genre
out
that
to like RPGs and
FPS.
ARPGs and FPSs.
Battle royales and
Battle Royales,
yeah,
MOBAs.
MOBAs. Yeah.
Actually, I'm very sad about the popularity of these battle royale games.
We are the
That's
boomers
the
lah.
thing.
Come on.
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so I don't think anybody in our group actually really plays much Battle Royale. Like, okay, so I tried playing Fortnite the other time, and because I thought to myself like I want to get into this because I like there's a reason why it's like so popular, and I wanted to try to get into it. And then I played a couple of matches, and it was quite cool. But then I was playing it like a shooting game as opposed to like the battle royale where you actually like build stuff around you. Then I went on YouTube to like research on like how do you play Fortnite, right? And if you see the way the pros play,
Mhm.
it's totally different from how casuals play. Like they teach you how to spin like your mouse really fast, and you basically create for yourself a fortress in like a matter of 1 second. Like you just create, and then that will like help you to protect you against the enemy. And I don't know. I think maybe Fortnite is a separate case, but for me, I don't get the appeal of a 20 to 30 minute match where you drop in and then once you die, that's it.
Yep. But
Yeah.
that being said, PUBG was like one of the biggest. I think was it PUBG that has the highest concurrent player on Steam?
Ever.
Yeah, ever. Like 3 million. Was it PUBG? Let me
Yeah,
find
I
out.
don't know. But to be fair, and that's Western numbers lah. If you go to China, the
Yeah,
number
I mean the Asian market
is a
is
drop in the bucket. Like, do you know what is the most popular FPS in the world right now?
No
I
idea.
just found out recently.
oh me too.
It's a game called Crossfire.
Crossfire, yeah.
What the heck is Crossfire? Right? It's more popular than COD and every like all the Western FPS you added up together still cannot beat Crossfire. Yeah, but that's just because I think like obviously China plays it. I think like China, Japan, Korea plays it in general,
Yep.
and that kind of like takes up the most of the population. Yeah, so yeah, but okay, that's cool. I think I'm always very interested to find out all these niche gaming communities because it's not something like okay. So for example, right? Do you play farming simulators at all? Sis?
He plays
Um,
Stardew, right? You play
Stardew?
Stardew, right?
Okay, so yeah, my most played game on Steam is Stardew.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay. I wouldn't call Stardew niche though because
No, it's not.
it's
It's
too
pretty
popular
mainstream
to
now.
be it's too popular to be niche. But like I think so. Wait, is Creeper World designed by a single developer as well, like one person?
It might be.
So
Okay, I'm logging into my other PC now just to see so I can check
similar
my
to
Steam.
Concern 8. Yeah, but
Uh,
like my friends recently got into Stardew Valley. Like they're a married couple, not gamers, but they discovered the co-op function and they play like 2 hours a night.
ooh, I should introduce that to my wife.
Yeah, and I found that quite interesting that they both enjoyed, you know, because to me, Stardew, like many people engage with Stardew very differently, but like some people take it very chill. Then you people like, are you like more like the Chris who plays it with a spreadsheet?
Um, okay, I'm probably a little bit more like that. So like,
Yeah,
I don't know if I use a spreadsheet, but definitely like there's a third party, like you can plan out your farm,
Yep.
right? And then you have to like, okay, you know what? Sorry, I did create a Google spreadsheet to calculate the optimal
Maximum yield, right?
yields for my crop plots. Yeah, I did do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I think that's just the min-maxer in especially in guy gamers. Like I think male gamers just try to maximize the it's not even something I think it's just something that we enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it really pissed me off that I couldn't get strawberries in my first spring.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
kind of thing.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's like,
I
when
was
you
like,
lock
if
down,
I had just
yeah.
known better.
Did you manage to I mean, I'm sure you could do it now. If you now that you
Yeah,
know
I
this
mean, it's like you spend almost more time reading the
planning.
wiki and the guides.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Then actually playing the
yeah.
game,
And
right?
then it's like, oh, okay. In the
Yeah.
first month, in the first season, you're gonna get all these gifts and make sure you give it to all these people in town so you maximize your friendship bonus or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I guess, yeah, the thing is that doesn't appeal to like the idea of doing that, playing that way, totally turns off some people. But I think everybody just has fun different ways. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
yeah. So I
Yeah,
was
go ahead.
right. PUBG is currently still holds the position for the most concurrent players on Steam ever at
Mm.
3.25 million.
Yeah.
Where are these
And
people coming from?
that's crazy because
And
the
do you,
second
and,
is lost
yeah,
at 1.3 million. So it's like, it's not even, it's more than
yeah.
double. So
And do you guys
that's
wanna
like
Wow.
the popularity of what do you call it? Battle royals.
do you guys wanna know
Mm.
what's Crossfire's current concurrent players?
Yes, yes.
6 million.
6 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we live in a very different society lah.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
we may
Yeah.
be
That's so
Asian,
true.
but we have no idea what's going on in the Asian market actually.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
we're not an Asian market. We're a Western market
Yeah.
for video
Yeah.
games.
They
Yeah.
count as
Yeah.
Correct. Like we may live in Southeast Asia, but man,
geographically we're there, but not
yeah.
in terms of like global markets and business markets. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to some interesting stuff. So recently, usually this is the part we talk about stuff that we've been watching, but I wanted to talk about stuff that is coming up. So recently, Super Bowl happened yesterday. Yesterday, right? Or today? Was it just today?
It was today for us, I think. This morning?
Yeah,
I
but
think it was this
anyway,
morning for us.
none of you watched Super Bowl, I believe.
Nah.
But anyway, the Super Bowl is where you watch all the TV trailers and some important trailers that came out. First one is the Rings of Power series by Amazon, Lord of the Rings. And so I did not know this, but this is a huge Lord of the Rings buff. Okay, so did you watch the trailer?
It's the 1 minute one, right?
Yes, the
Lord of
teaser
Rings.
lah, the teaser.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Yes.
tell me, because for me, I've only read the mainstream books, I've watched the mainstream movies. I don't engage with Lord of the Rings any other way. Tell me what did you think about the trailer and tell me your thoughts.
Okay. Oh
Okay.
dear.
We
It's
must-
probably not. It's probably not good that. Okay. First of all, I never really thought of myself as a Lord of the Rings super fan, but okay. If you define it by the number of times I've read the Silmarillion, then fine. Okay. I literally have not met anyone in real life who has managed to finish reading the Silmarillion. Even people I know who are complete fantasy and sci-fi bookworms,
Yeah.
they tell me like, "How did you read this? It's like reading through tar
Dictionary.
or something."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so for some reason I really like it. What did I think of the trailer? I found it a little schizophrenic. Like a lot of editorial cuts everywhere, and it presented, I think, a lot of different characters. I found the characters to be very out of context. I have no idea who I'm looking at. I can maybe make some assumptions about who they are based on my knowledge of the major characters in the Second Age, which is when the Rings of Power
Oh
were
yeah,
forged.
so let's frame it. The the time period that they're going for is the Second Age, and it's about the forging of the rings, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and I
Before
believe
Sauron was.
just you did tell us that they are condensing what 500 years into 50 years, something like that.
About maybe 3 to 4,000 years.
Oh, okay, wow.
Okay.
See, this
Well,
is stuff that I wouldn't know. I have no idea.
Okay, no. The second age is about 3,000 years, I think. It's been a long, long time since I read. But the forging of the rings itself, I'm not sure. Definitely over a long time because they're all elves, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, in a sense, it's like the second age can be like 2,000 years, but maybe the big events that happen only happen within like that important few years, right? That's what you think might happen.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But definitely longer than the lifespan of a human.
Yeah. So do you
Let's
think
put it that way.
do you think they can okay, so let's talk about characters, right? So for those of you who don't know, like the Lord of the Rings trilogy happens in the third age, right? Where that's
right.
where, Sauron tricks
It's the
all
it's the
the
end of the third age, right?
kingdoms.
That is correct. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is where so like you said, second age is all elves. There's no kingdom of men at this point.
Actually,
They have to be, right? Because they gave the rings
no,
to
that's okay. I could be getting my timelines wrong. Is it correct that it's Rings of Power is second age? Is that correct? Is that what they said?
I know it's the
I
forging of the rings, from what I've
Okay,
read.
so it's possible I'm getting my timelines a bit mixed up. If the first age is like the original birth of the elves, and the war amongst the Middle Earth gods, who are called the Valar, um, then I think the second age is actually the age of Numenor,
Yep.
which is like
The
Yeah.
first man, right?
Tolkien's
yes.
Atlantis.
Yes.
Not the first men, but like a special race of men,
Which Aragorn is part
which
of,
is
right?
Aragorn is directly descended from.
Descendant
Yeah,
from it, right? Yeah.
which is why he
Oh,
can live. Which is why he has a longer than normal lifespan. Yeah,
yeah.
because the
So he's
Numenorians would live until like 1,000 years old.
okay,
Yeah,
so it
so
says
they
here
were
that
like, mm,
the
sorry.
second age is ended with the defeat of Sauron and the army by the alliance of elves and men, a century
Oh
after the
yes. So
downfall of
so that
Numenor.
that scene that we watch in the movie where his ring gets cut. I mean his finger gets cut. That's the end of
So
the
that's
second
the
age,
end of
right?
the second age. Okay, that means the Rings
So
of
it's the
Power is
first
happening
age,
some.
It's
or
sometime in
between
the
the
second
two.
age. Because what I Google says, Rings of Power is set in the second age of Middle Earth, thousands of
Oh,
years before the events of the Lord of the Rings.
oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, the first age is all the Silmarillion stuff. Yeah. Okay. So I mean that's this is so basically the idea is that for the mainstream audience, people who have not read the books before, this is a totally new timeline for them to play with, right? Because basically the only thing that people like me know is just that the Rings of Power were forged during this time. And the only recurring characters that I might see are Galadriel and Elrond. Those are
Elrond,
the only
yeah.
two people that I know in the trailer, actually. I think. Did I miss anybody?
There's Prince Durin, but we have never seen him before, but we heard of him in The Hobbit.
Yeah,
Durin's
I was
folk.
assuming he's a dwarf because he's
Yeah,
like he's one of the seven dwarf lords,
Dwarf
I
Kings.
believe.
Yeah. He's the
Yeah.
one he got a ring, right?
Yes, he's
He's
one
the one
of
that got a ring.
the. That's right.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so on a scale of okay, so you say it was schizophrenic. I mean, which is true, but that maybe that's the way Hollywood likes to cut their trailers nowadays. They try to just showcase as much characters in as many scenes as possible, show as much CGI effects. But how optimistic or are you of this show?
On a scale of Wheel of Time to
Oh, are we
Lord of the
going
Rings.
there? Are we going there?
Oof.
We just talked about this before.
Yeah, I think okay. I think Wheel of Time didn't meet some of our expectations, but I wouldn't say it's not like a one.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
it's not a one.
Okay, so what was your question again? On a scale of what?
Or like, how optimistic are you, or how excited are you for this show?
Um, I'd say I'm excited, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Because especially after I've seen Amazon's treatment of the translation of Wheel of Time,
Yep.
which is a very very ambitious book series and also a very very lengthy book series. To be fair, onto TV, I I'm not hopeful, and especially
Okay.
but I mean, a large part of that is also because you're dealing with content that is, at least to me, and I'm guessing to a lot of other fantasy people who like fantasy, that is considered sort of like almost like sacred ground, because this is like the OG
Mm.
fantasy author,
Yeah. Yep.
It's like I don't know if he was the first, but he definitely was the first popular, like the whole concept of like elves and orcs and
Yeah,
everything
for
that
sure.
we see today comes from that, right?
Mm.
So I think you need to be respectful of the subject matter, and I hope that they will be. It's also a TV series, so you cannot write it like the Silmarillion is written, otherwise it wouldn't be addressable to a mainstream audience.
Mm.
So I can see from the trailer that they are intentionally dramatizing certain things, like showing a young Galadriel who is only 5,000 years old, uh, you
They
know,
didn't have money to pay Kate Blanchett to come back.
doing some like glacier ice parkour or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you really think she did that? She's a freaking
She's a
princess
princess or queen
of
or something like
the
that,
of
right?
the Noldor, which is the clan of elves that she's part of. There are 3 tribes of elves, or 4 actually, if you think about it. And she is like she is much older than Elrond, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
She's an OG elf.
she is. She was an OG elf who lived in the I what do they call it? In like the at the end of Lord of the Rings when Gandalf sails
Oh, to the
Yeah.
Grey Havens.
away to the
Yeah.
Undying Lands with
Undying Lands,
Frodo
yeah.
and Bilbo. Yeah, that she was one of the original elves who was brought to the Undying Lands by the Valar.
Oh, wow.
I don't know whether she was born in Middle Earth before that happened or whether she was born in the Undying Lands, but she lived there for a long, long time. Yeah,
So it feels weird that they're portraying her as this little girl, who's growing up.
it's kind of strange. Yeah,
Yeah. So Marv, you can share thoughts, but I'll just share my parting thoughts because I don't have much to add other than the fact that firstly, I think that the production quality in this series is already way better than Wheel of Time. Like the trailer, to me, already looks better. Like the costumes look better, the
I agree.
CGI looks much better.
I agree.
Like Wheel of Time looks cheap. Like not in terms of the quality of effects. Not the mention story. But I think for me, like the thing about Lord of the Rings, especially this part, is that there isn't not I wouldn't say there's not much content, but in a sense, Wheel of Time has 14 books to live up to expectations. And so when you change any part of the 14 books, right, or that one book, people go up in arms. But in this case, like because there's so little actual physical word content for this series, that for me, maybe I'm wrong about this, but as long as they hit like major plot points that is true to the books, they can kind of play hard and fast with how they get there, I guess. Maybe
yeah. I mean,
that's just my
true.
yeah.
Because it's interesting that they chose the Rings of Power because it's one of the
Least
as far as Lord of the original Tolkien content goes, it's like a short story.
mm,
Actually, the Silmarillion itself is a much richer corpus of stories to draw from, and it also covers a much longer period. So yeah, so I mean, there is like dialogue in the
mm,
Silmarillion, quite a lot of dialogue, but it spans like several thousand years, I guess.
It's
mm.
So
probably an intentional thing, to
Yeah,
choose a
I think it's
story
the
that
thing.
isn't so fleshed out in the books, like what Yen said, lah.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
So they can um you know twist their own, put their own creative spin on it.
Yeah,
Because
and I would be surprised if I would assume that they will end it with the original defeat of Sauron that they show at the beginning of Lord of the Rings.
mhm.
So,
Oh, okay. Do you think they'll get to that point? So do you
well,
think Sauron will be the main antagonist?
that's sort of like the first conclusion of the Rings of Power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's when they this is like spoiler alert, but okay, it's already in the book. Um, it's when they realize that Sauron was using the rings to try and control them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, you tricked me. Right. Because he crafted it and gave it to them, right? Did he not?
Okay, so here's the overall what happened, right? The original rings of power were forged by this elf called Celebrimbor,
Yeah. Oh, that's the
and
shadow of what model
that
guy.
that's how he's actually. I believe that's how his name is actually pronounced,
Yeah.
because like Tolkien inserted like all these really detailed pronunciation guides
Yeah.
because he was a linguist. Anyway, so he is the great, I think, the grandson of this elven smith called Finor. Now, Finor lived in the Undying Lands. He forged the Silmarils, which were like these jewels that captured the light of the trees. Okay, so before the sun and moon, there were these trees that had like there was like a golden tree and like a silver tree, like sun and moon. And then they would light up at different times of the day.
Oh.
But long story short, bad things happened and they got killed, and the only light of the trees left in the world were captured in these Silmarils, right? And he was the only smith with the skill who could craft these jewels. And the entire story of the First Age was basically this enormous like world war to try and reclaim these Silmarils. And it led to Finor and Galadriel's tribe of elves, who are called the Noldor, leaving the Undying Lands because they were like pissed off. Okay, basically.
Mm.
So Celebrimbor is Finor's grandson, I think. So he has like a special skill to craft these rings, but he was also manipulated by Sauron, who taught him some of the, I guess, techniques to craft these rings of power.
Mm.
Right, so that's how Sauron was planning to basically like dominate all of the Middle Earth races.
Yep. Oh. So in this case, in this show, right, Sauron is portrayed as a good guy first, lah. Like he's a good guy in a sense. He's like he
Oh,
is
did they
like
paint
the
him in the trailer? Is that it?
no, I don't know.
No, he's
I didn't
not.
see him
Oh,
in the trailer.
He's not in the trailer.
Yeah, he's not in the
oh,
trailer.
in the Second Age, he does not look like that twisted metal armor.
Yeah.
He's
He's a
supposed to
regular
look
dude,
like an
right?
elf. Yeah,
He's an elf, right? Like
yeah.
yeah. He's like I mean, in my mind, the twist will be like kind of similar to how Saruman was good in Fellowship, but then kind of revealed to be bad later on. Like he's the same kind of concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I mean, to be fair, I'm excited for this show. Maybe
It's an
in
exciting
the same
story. Yeah.
maybe just in the way that like how Marv went into Wheel of Time without knowing the story. Like but he kind of enjoyed it until we told him how rich the story actually is and how much he missed out. And then he was like, "What the heck? What the heck?" But
I
then maybe I'll have something to
I will admit that I'm looking for something to fill the void of Game of Thrones season 8. So anything that's like fantasy, high fantasy, I'm like, okay, I wanna watch, I wanna consume it. Yeah. And Wheel of Time was like my biggest hope.
you were supposed to be the
Yeah,
chosen
you were
one.
the chosen one. Yeah. But unfortunately no. So my thoughts are that I am excited for Rings of Power. I mean, I'm same as Ian. I've read the books. I've read Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and then I also watched the shows. But that's the extent that I have lah,
Yeah.
in terms of knowledge. So, but I've always enjoyed the. Okay, I would say that I didn't enjoy The Hobbit as much as I enjoyed Lord of the Rings. I
Yeah.
felt The Hobbit was a bit too drawn out. You know,
Yeah. Should have
like
been one movie,
like
not
it felt
three.
like a cash grab. So, but I still enjoyed it because I like watching like this
The
kind of
world,
setting.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elves, orcs, dwarves, what we were saying lah. Yeah.
Mm.
So I am cautiously optimistic. Um, I'm hoping that the quality at least will be great.
Yeah.
Even because story wise, I have no point of reference, you see, because I didn't read the books. I didn't read the short story. I didn't read anything beyond the main stuff. Yeah. So if like the CGI is great, the story is good,
Passable. Yeah.
then I'll be like, yay, well done, Amazon, redeem yourself.
Yeah. I hope that's what happens.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
it's they spent 500 million, right? Or 400 million.
Yeah, it's the
150
budget's like
million
what,
on the rights, right? And then
10
they spend
or
like
10 or 20
250 on.
times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be good. Like, how can it not be good? You put so much money into it. It's insane. Well, we'll see. But on the topic of fantasy, so we're just talking about this. Like, what are the other? So you're right in saying that Lord of the Rings is like it's Tolkien is the author of high fantasy. Like before Tolkien, there wasn't really high fantasy wasn't popular, or the concept of elves being long lived and dwarves being short is a very Tolkienist thing. Like every author after Tolkien has basically used his stereotypes, and that includes people like Robert Jordan, who wrote The Wheel of Time. Although there
yeah.
aren't really elves in The Wheel of Time, there aren't actually much other races in the Wheel of Time actually. But I wanted to ask this, like, what are the other fantasy books that you've been exposed to or that you've enjoyed reading when you were growing up?
Okay, so I did read Wheel of Time. I haven't finished it.
Yeah.
I read until sort of like page 100 on book 8 because I got really upset that they.
Don't worry, everybody stops on book 8 anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, um, it's been a very long time since I read, but I think I've read most of the core like R.A. Salvatore, Forgotten
Oh, okay.
Realms books,
The
like
Forgotten
the
Realms.
you know the Drizzt
The
Do'Urden
Gist Order. Yeah.
series. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was very sort of Dungeons and Dragony and like
It is.
kind of the universe, the world, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
Then the other major series I have a very strong recollection of is actually the Dragonlance
Oh, Margaret Weiss and
Chronicles.
Tracy Hickman.
Yeah, and I think I
Oh,
read all of the
yeah.
the primary, like the main storyline books,
Yeah, yeah,
and even some of the sightings.
yeah.
Um, it got a little bit weird, halfway through the story, but like they
Yeah.
like teleported to a new planet or some shit
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But I finished it and I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Mm. How about sci-fi?
Sci-fi. Ooh. Other than like the Ender's Game trilogy, I haven't really read a lot of sci-fi series, and
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I know a lot of sci-fi series to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, then okay, I read some stuff like some of the more of the classics. I think like Starship Troopers by I think that's Robert A. Heinlein. I haven't gotten to some of the other books like Stranger in a Strange Land or Moon is a Harsh Mistress. It's kind
Yeah.
of like on my list. Then I read
Wait.
like the Foundation series.
Okay. Did you watch
Yeah,
the Amazon? Was it no? Is it Amazon
I think it's
Foundation?
Apple TV. I think
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't
And
remember.
Mark,
No,
have you
I
watched
haven't
it?
watched it.
No, I heard of it though. Did watch it?
Maybe the next thing I should watch. Yeah.
I heard this. I watched a bit of it.
Wait,
It's
you
not.
read The Expanse, right? Just
No.
oh, you
So
didn't.
actually, that's another series I think
Oh
I'm
yeah,
quite keen
I should read The Expanse.
to get into because I loved The Expanse. I mean, I kind of I didn't know about it. I kind of found it when it was already at season 3, and then I thought it was really really good. Definitely I know everyone else has said this by now, but I thought it was the most realistic portrayal of
The future.
Of
deep space combat.
yeah, combat in space.
Yeah, I
Oh,
Yeah.
mean, better even I think than like Battlestar Galactica reboot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have never watched. I watched the first season of The Expanse, and It didn't grab me. I don't know. Should I just try again?
It gets much better, I think. First season is a little bit like what's going on.
Like world building
I
lah.
think in some
Right.
places, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
And then like the main characters, um, I think the characters definitely don't have as much immediate like on-screen presence as like
Yeah.
maybe say like the Game of Thrones cast does. Like when you first get introduced to Daenerys Targaryen, she's like this helpless, naked girl who's like about to get sold off to some dude by her brother, right? But then she morphs into this like tenacious, strong, independent woman. And I think people really liked that, right? And I feel like The Expanse is a very good series, and I really like the story, but I feel like the actors don't have as much of a screen presence. Not to say that they're bad; they're not bad. They're good actors, but it's just like they don't have that, the last 10% or the last 5%. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, I should get back. It's 5 seasons.
Six,
Six,
but
I
the
think.
sixth season is quite short.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
I should.
And
Amazon didn't give them enough money. That's the thing. Okay, I should get back. I should try that. Other things that we've been watching. What's this J-Park thing, Muff?
No, it's just talking about trailers, right?
What trailer was he in?
No, that's Jurassic Park Dominion.
oh, Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought J-Park as in like I thought
not
the
not the Korean guy. Yeah.
Korean guy. I was like, oh, I didn't watch the trailer.
You haven't watched the
What's-
trailer?
No, I
Oh
haven't.
my goodness. Do you want
Okay.
to be
I
spoiled?
should watch. I mean, I'll watch it later. Don't spoil it for me.
Okay.
I love dinosaurs. It's
Okay,
just that
I won't spoil it
it's
for
just
you.
that Jurassic World, right? This is the third. This is the third in Jurassic World, right?
Yes, this is the end of the trilogy.
Just that Jurassic World hasn't grabbed me as much as I was enthralled with the original Jurassic. Just the first Jurassic Park.
Cannot
JP2,
compare to
JP or
the first
JP2.
Jurassic Park, lah.
Yeah, first Jurassic Park
Yeah.
and second Jurassic Park are just spectacular. I can't like so far I haven't watched a dinosaur movie that has gotten to Jurassic Park 1 and 2.
Mhm.
It's as good as that. Yeah.
It's for sure that Jurassic World isn't as good as Jurassic Park, but
Yeah.
it's for me. It's like seeing that style of dinosaurs on screen, right? It just makes me feel like damn happy.
Yeah.
Because I loved dinosaurs as a kid. Yeah.
Right.
We all did.
But anyway, go watch it after this. I won't spoil, but
Yeah.
Okay.
you'll be very happy.
Okay.
This is one of those things where it's really hard, I think, for the filmmakers, because the original Jurassic Park. I don't know about the original trilogy, but definitely I know Jurassic Park, original, and Lost World were written by Michael Crichton.
Oh,
Like, they were books, they were novels first.
Yep.
So and then Jurassic Park is, I watch this YouTube channel called Corridor Digital, which goes over like all these visual effects, which is I highly recommend it. They always talk about the original Jurassic Park T-Rex scene because it was like an animatronic T-Rex.
Yeah.
And then they use all these like lighting tricks to make it look really realistic,
Yes.
even though it's like obviously a piece of rubber.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when some of the newer movies do like CG, it doesn't look as impactful for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's an aside, but yeah, the Jurassic Park trailer was pretty cool because there were some dinosaurs in there which I recognized only because I recently played Ark with Joel and John.
The more obscure ones, right?
Of a lot of dinosaurs, yeah.
What's the one with the feathers called? The one at the end.
There's one with the feathers. It's called a Therazinosaur.
Oh, okay.
Very dangerous because and they portrayed this in the trailer. Actually, I recognized it in the trailer when they showed only a partial shot of it because it's actually a herbivorous dinosaur, but it has these insanely long claws.
Oh,
the claws are like 2 feet long. Yeah.
Wow, I did not expect
okay.
that.
So in Ark, they call it like the vegetarian like T-Rex.
Ah.
So in the MMO, it's like almost as strong as a T-Rex.
Cool.
But it's a herbivore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so they're getting chased by one.
Yeah. It's like previously was the Gigantosaurus or the Carnotaurus. They tried to like every new Jurassic, they tried to introduce like a villain that is like worse than T-Rex, right?
But this one is a real one.
I think that's why
this one was
Jurassic
an
World
actual...
didn't like resonate as well because they use made up dinosaurs, right?
No, they use the spiced up dinosaurs,
Yeah,
right? The genetic
they
modified dinosaurs.
genetically engineered dinosaurs for
The
both
Velociraptor with
the
a T-Rex, right?
Indoraptor and the
Yeah.
what was the first one?
Is that's the first one is the Indoraptor. The second one is where they spliced the raptor with the T-Rex, right?
Yes,
It was at his house. It was at the guy's basement
to
or
make the
something.
smaller one. I
Yeah.
can't remember the name. Yeah, I see. I don't remember because it's fake.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think I just think that the first Jurassic Park has so much. It's not just well done because of. I do agree that the fact that it's practical effects with lighting and even that makes it that sells it even to this day. You watch Jurassic Park, you don't think to yourself, oh damn, that's an old movie. Like if you watch when they come out 1990 something, I
Mhm.
can't even remember. But if you watch a show that was 20 years ago, no show that you watch, you go, oh, that still looks good today. Very few shows do
Okay.
that, and this is one of them.
I think I know what Jurassic Park has that the Jurassic World films don't. Right. I think Jurassic World focuses, at least in my opinion, right, it focuses a little bit more on like the dinosaurs and the
Yeah.
atmosphere and like all this cool shit. Whereas the original Jurassic Park is like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the when shit hits the fan, it's like
Yeah.
you are like fucking scared. You know, you're like
Yeah.
you're just trying to get the fuck out with your life and like not
Yeah.
get eaten alive. And there was this thrill, this like terror
Yes.
that they managed to portray on convey through the screen, which I think the Jurassic World ones, you know, it's a theme park. Like
Yeah.
it's not that scary. Like
Are
Yeah.
you ready for your minds to be blown?
Go ahead.
what?
Jurassic Park, 1993, 30 years ago,
Wow. That's
or
insane.
29 years ago
93.
lah.
Holy shit.
Such a good. I
Yeah,
need to watch it.
29 years ago.
It's like even now to this day, I can still and the way they frame the show, like I just want to tell you like the scene, you immediately know it, like the
Yeah.
that scene, the with the cup, and
What's
you
his
hear the
name?
boom.
The water with the
What's his
water.
Yeah.
name? The
Samuel
fat guy,
Jackson?
right? What's his name?
Yeah, the fat guy. I don't know. The one
I,
that you said was also in other shows. Well, no, that's a different one.
yeah.
But like the scene where I still remember the kitchen scene where the two raptors are
Yep.
chasing the
Yep.
kids,
And then they
right?
open the
You
door.
instantly know that. Yeah, I
Oh.
open the door and they try to close it,
Iconic.
and then the last scene, right, where T-Rex comes in, eats the raptor, and then he roars, and then the banner
The
of
banner
Jurassic
comes down,
Park
yeah.
falls down on
Oh
him.
my god.
Like you're just like, oh, this is the greatest show ever. So I just think that there's so much like that they did well in that show, like scenes that, yeah. But I think what Sim said is true. So like the dinosaur is not the main attraction. Like the dinosaur is a vehicle, is a tool for you to understand how scared these people are and like how much they would just want to get off this bloody island.
Yeah, I think they basically they used it. They told a more powerful story. I think
Yeah.
is what it boils down to, right? Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you guys a funny story. When I was playing WoW, like a couple of months ago. So when I went back to WoW like last year, I can't remember, about September. And then I decided to main hunter. So you guys have played WoW, right? So you get your hunter, you can rename your hunter pets when you tame them. So I
Yeah.
was playing a Zandalari Troll, which the theme of a Zandalari Troll is dinosaurs, right? I don't know if you all remember. Just like maybe you don't know. But so Zandalari Trolls,
I mean, I know the Zandalari, but yeah.
yeah, they are offshoot of like regular trolls, right? And their class mount is like Triceratops. So I wanted to get dinosaur pets,
Raptor.
and I was playing. So I prefer Beastmaster. So Beastmaster gets to tame like special pets, right? So there's a special pet in the game which is it's like a ghostly Velociraptor, like translucent. So I had to camp for it, and then I got it. And when I got it, then I could rename it, right? I chose. Okay, guess what I chose? Guess what I chose to name the Velociraptor? It's
Ian Malcolm.
It's a reference to Jurassic Park. I don't know if you guys can get it. Not
I
Ian
don't know.
Malcolm. Just any guess?
Indoraptor.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
I
know.
named it Clever Girl. You'll get the reference? Okay.
Yeah,
So that's not the funny thing. So I named it Clever Girl, and then I was using it in like some random, I think I was like doing a dungeon or something, and then they matchmake you with random people around the world, right?
Yeah.
Then this guy, like when I loaded in, And then I could see that, because you can see when somebody targets something, right? Because you can see a target of target. And then he targeted my raptor, my pet. And then after a while, he messaged me. He was like, "You think you're very smart, huh? Like in this age, using this kind of names." Like he obviously thought that I was like, being a what do you call that?
Chauvinistic.
MCP, yeah, a
Yeah.
chauvinistic guy, right? Name my pet a girl, right? Then call it clever girl. Then I was like, oh man, I think I'm damn old if people that are playing WoW with me don't get the reference and then they think that I'm being chauvinistic. Then I was like, how do I explain to this guy? Then I just decided to block him. Because he kept on,
It's a movie reference.
yeah, he
for a
just kept
dinosaur.
on like going. He's one of those like, those woke people who
Yeah.
got offended. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was just a funny story.
I think
Okay.
it's more sad that he hasn't seen Lost World.
Yeah.
That's World, right?
No, it's
Yeah.
from the original one. You know when the hunter guy?
The hunter
Yeah.
is gonna shoot the
Yeah, it's
raptor,
from the
right?
original
Was
Jurassic
that
Park.
the original movie? I thought it was from Lost
Yeah.
World. Okay.
They're in like
Mm.
the compound. Then he tells
Yeah, I
Ellie
remember.
to go like start the fence. Then he goes to hunt the raptor, right? Then he's aiming at one of them. Then he realizes that
Yeah,
the other
then
one
the
is
other
like.
one's over
Then
there.
he goes, clever
Clever
girl.
girl. See,
No, I thought
that's
that
also
was so
another
good.
scene. This is like
Yeah.
Yeah,
such a
it's
good one.
iconic.
Yeah,
He
and it
didn't
was right
scream.
after he explained like this is how they hunt.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
distract you, and then he fell for it.
It's like that. Did you guys ever watch Deep Blue Sea?
Yes, the smart sharks, right?
The smart sharks,
no.
right? So
I didn't see that.
it has Samuel Jackson. Is it Samuel Jackson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it has ice. It has like what's his name? But anyway, there's this one scene where Samuel Jackson is like just talking, and he's like trying to get everybody hyped up that we need to like survive, and the shark just comes out and eats him.
Yeah, bites his hand off, something like that, right?
He just bites him whole off and then drags him into the sea. Yeah, so it's like kind of like that scene, right, where like the expert dies instantly after he explains it. Anyway, okay, Doctor Strange is another trailer that I also have not.
Oh,
I've
you
only
haven't
watched the
watched
Rings of
it?
Power trailer.
You haven't watched it?
I only watched the Ring of Power trailer,
Okay.
but it's 1 minute.
You have to go watch this.
Just
Yeah,
do
go
watch
and
it.
see it.
Just you watched it,
Yes,
right?
I did.
Do you watch
The
What If?
Multiverse of Madness.
Do you watch What If?
No, I have not seen What If.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay, then you won't get all the reference.
Yes, I know, but I understood your reference. You said something
Yeah.
about Carter's shield, right?
Okay, anyway, I'm going to spoil something for Ian. Okay,
go
maybe
ahead.
not spoil, but I'm going to ask you to observe something. So there's a part where Doctor Strange is handcuffed and brought before a council, and somebody says something like, maybe we should tell him the truth, something like that. I want you to, when you watch it later, listen to that line very closely, and then you actually get a shot like of the back of the person's head for like a split second. Go and see like who it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you've read our group chat, you would have known who it is. But yeah, go watch it later.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Reddit stuff going on about like people are saying that this Doctor Strange is gonna have like people from a crap ton of other movies.
Yeah,
that are gonna
correct.
be.
It's gonna be like No Way Home but on drugs.
But yeah, it's not just gonna be two others, by the way. It's gonna be like every Tom, Dick, and Harry
Yep.
from every other show.
Yep.
It's gonna come in and appear.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, when does it come out? May.
May.
Oh, that's
May, I
fast.
May,
6th
yes.
of May.
And then
Yeah.
Jurassic
Wow.
Park is in June.
Okay, cool.
Jurassic
It'll
World,
be a
sorry.
When does Lord of the Rings come out?
September.
My birthday, 2nd September. That's how I remember it.
Wow.
2nd September.
Okay.
Happy
So
birthday
unless
to
it
you
gets
then.
delayed. Yeah, it better be a damn good first episode. Oh well, if it's not, at least it'll be my birthday. I'll have something else to celebrate.
I hope it's a good series and not just an episode.
But the first episode sets the tone though. Like I think the first episode, like if it sucks, no one's gonna watch episode 2. Not no one lah, but you lose half your audience. Yeah.
People will be less hyped.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so do you want to talk about games at all, Marv? Or I don't think we can talk a bit about Lost Ark, but Zhifs is not playing with us anyway.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
we
why
can
are you
just-
not playing with us? Huh?
He's playing his TD and he's busy, bro.
No, I cannot commit to such long periods of time. I did play a major game recently, which was I finally played Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh,
Oh,
we can
okay.
talk
Let's talk
about
about
that.
that. Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about that. Okay, so tell us, how did
that. Wait, did you
you play on the
finish it?
PS4 or PS5?
Yes, I finished it. I haven't finished the Frozen
The DLC.
Wastes X
The
pack,
Frozen
but
Wild. Oh, yeah.
Frozen Wilds, yeah,
That part is secondary.
yeah.
So how you play on the PS4 or PS5?
No, on my PC.
Oh, yeah, right. It's on PC.
Yeah.
How did you tell us about your impression?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I mean, I knew like a little bit about the main character,
Mm,
but actually, I had no idea what the story was about. So I absolutely loved the very like strong, narrative aspect.
yeah,
It's something that I feel games should have more of. Kind of like playing the original Halo, or like Half Life. And everybody's praying that Gabe will release episode 3.
but
But,
it's not gonna
you
happen,
know,
bro.
at this
Valve,
point, I think
Valve
we just
can't,
resign
Valve
ourselves.
can't
Yeah.
count to 3, so
They
don't.
got no
Yeah.
money.
Yeah,
Valve got no money.
Yeah.
Steam
like
doesn't make that
Half
money.
Life
It's the
1, Half
losing.
Life 2, right? No Half Life 3. Episode 1, Episode 2, no Episode 3. Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2, no Left 4 Dead 3. They can't count to 3 last
Okay,
year.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. But I really liked, I think, practically everything about the game. I thought the story was fantastic. I got a new PC recently now in November, which is why I could finally play it
Yeah.
after a 2-year hiatus with no gaming PC. Um, and then I really love the combat. Actually, I really really liked it because I always wish that games. My problem with games like say like World of Warcraft, right, where it's not really skill based, so to speak, because you don't have to do things like target manually or stuff like that. Um, um, what Horizon Zero Dawn did really well is that because you have to like knock off different parts of the animal that gets highlighted in your
Yep.
heads-up display, then
Yep.
it's really up to like how you time your arrows and how
Yep.
accurate you are. So it's
Yeah.
still skill-based, but it's still like a structured combat experience, right?
Yep.
And I thought that was really smart. I've heard they are going to make some improvements to that combat in the
Mm.
next one in Forbidden West. I might have a chance to get a PS5, so I might be able to
Oh,
actually play
nice.
Forbidden West. So I mean, we'll see. And I also did archery for 3 years in universities. So I was really,
Wow.
really like chuffed that the main weapon or her main weapon is
It's a
a
bow,
bow.
right? Yeah.
Because I just thought it's such a cool way of doing combat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. I think. But yeah, for me the thing that really brings it together is the story.
Yep.
Then you really feel like the empathy with the character and the people in the universe and things like that.
Okay, we can't let it slide, but you need to let us know how you are securing a PS5.
Oh,
Or is it a secret that you can't share?
okay. So interesting story. Actually, my dad asked me today if I want a PS5, and
Wow.
I don't know how he's getting one. And I'm very um a little bit embarrassed, but also quite pleased that he's bothering to ask me this question
Oh,
because it's like I'm like a fully grown
do you
adult,
feel
man.
like a little boy?
Yeah, kind of. Actually, interesting thing, he never did things like this. My parents never did these kinds of things for me when I was actually a kid. Like they would not go out and buy like a
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how you feel, bro.
gaming console. But like
Now that you're older,
I think he has some kind of lobang. I don't know. I don't know how he's getting it. So
Awesome.
maybe your dad's a
I'm,
scalper
I'm
okay,
at
let's be
heart.
let's be clear. I don't know if I'm actually getting one yet, but I don't think he would ask me this question if he didn't have a way.
nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Maybe he's gonna buy a PS5 for you, but when he opened the box, it's a PS4 inside.
yeah. Or the fake PS5. What's it called? Like the
Fake PS5.
JS5 or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope you get a real one
Wait,
though.
since you have a
I hope so
PS4, right?
too.
No, he doesn't, right? Do you
Yeah, I think I do.
have? I think
I I haven't used it in so long.
Because
I'm
you
not
can
really.
buy
I'm not really a console player, to be honest.
you can buy Forbidden West on PS4,
No,
and
no,
when you
thank
get
you.
a PS5, you can actually play it still.
He's played it. He's played it on 60 FPS
Yeah, that's true
at
lah. You
ultimate
don't want to play on
quality.
30 FPS
He's
lah.
not gonna want to play on 30 FPS anymore.
Yeah.
I would actually prefer to play it on my PC, but
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to wait 2 years.
No
I don't think you're
way.
gonna see it for
Wait 2 years.
correct.
Yeah.
2 years. Yeah, I actually I am okay. So, I want to set you up a little bit for Forbidden West from the reviews that I see about Forbidden West. They say that the story is not as
It's
strong
good. Yeah.
in the second. They say it's a very in the similar vein that Mass Effect 1 story is better than Mass Effect 2 story, but
Mhm.
Mass Effect 2's characters are better than Mass Effect 1's characters.
I think the
Okay.
Yeah,
gameplay
but
is also better.
But the gameplay is it's the same gameplay shift from 1 to 2, Mass Effect 1 to 2. Like Mass Effect 2 plays like Mass Effect 2 is my favorite Mass Effect in the whole series. In terms of just the story and the characters and the gameplay aspect of it. And I think that's what most of the reviewers are saying what Forbidden West does, but they say the story is not as strong because because by the end of 1, the cool part about 1 was finding out what the heck happened, right? Like why are
Like the
they in
big
this?
review at the end.
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
It's
it's the
amazing.
twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you first discover the flood in Halo, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh
or the
shit.
Reapers in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, no. I mean, in Mass Effect 1, I remember that moment so clearly, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at this holographic red I
Yeah.
even remember the color. This red
Yeah.
holographic
Sovereign.
diagram of Sovereign.
Yeah.
This the matriarch's ship, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, finally have access to a fucking ship,
Yeah.
right? And then it talks to you, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I think that's you can never get that back from
Yeah.
that's like the strength of the first
Yeah. I mean,
outing.
where do you go from there, right? You already saved the world. Like, literally, you
Yeah.
saved the planet in Horizon Zero Dawn. How can you go
Yeah.
up from there?
So apparently this Forbidden West starts like directly after. It's not even like a month later. It is literally like you wake up the next day and then Forbidden West begins. So that's kind of cool. So I'm actually okay. So Marv where's your Wolfers race again, Marv?
22nd.
So Marv has
4
between
days.
18, which so Forbidden West releases on the 18th.
Oh, sorry, my World Fest is on 5th March, but Destiny 2 launches on 22nd.
So he has 4 days to finish Forbidden West. And then after that, I'm gonna borrow his PS5 so that I can play Forbidden West.
Yep.
But I've got a long time to play because I've got until 22nd to 5th March
Yeah.
to play. But that's why I am actually right now. I have been trying to replay the original Horizon.
You have Horizon on PC?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So you bought it on PC also?
Yeah. I played it when it first came out, 2020, I think.
Does it feel a lot better on PC?
Oh, for sure. Although, so I played the original PS4, 30 FPS, but I mean, I didn't know anything better back then, so I still enjoyed it. Then I played it on keyboard and mouse on PC,
Way easier, right?
and that was. But I'm going back to my controller again because I actually think, out of all, even though in my mind it makes sense that playing a game which is based on aiming would be much better on keyboard and mouse. I think that the game is optimized in a way that you can still play it with a controller, like, well, it's not that difficult where you need to like use a keyboard and mouse to play.
Yeah, I never like had any major issues playing on the controller.
Like you have to, they give you like a slowdown time, literally mechanic in. That you press and then it gives you like 5 seconds to aim at a body part, right?
Mhm.
And you jump and then you do the same thing again. Like it's not that difficult.
And,
So
and I read
think it's
that
more
the DualSense is amazing.
for the PS5.
Yeah, for Forbidden West. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll let you guys when it comes out. I thought it was out already, but apparently the embargo came off super early.
Yep.
The reviews came out already. That's how confident they are in their game. They'll let you release reviews of it 4 days before the game releases.
Yep. Anyway, I already pre-ordered it, so yeah.
I mean, it's one of those games where I knew it was hyped a lot, but I only played it like 2 years after the fact. And it's like playing Half-Life 2 all over again, it was like that level of storytelling, right?
This, I've got another game for you. You have God of War. Go.
Okay. So I was going to get God of War right after I finished Horizon Zero Dawn. I played the first, I don't remember, the first three on PS4, PS3, I can't remember. Awesome, I loved it. Yeah, but it's not on sale on Steam. It's quite
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, you can wait. You can wait. But it's funny
Yeah.
because I think out of all of the people, most of us who have consoles, I think I'm the only person that has that and that loves God of War, like this version of God of War. I think it bounced off Marth pretty hard as well, right? Marth didn't finish it.
I
He
think I
didn't even
played
get
like
past like first level.
2 hours, maybe 1 or 2 hours.
Really? Well, I
Yeah.
heard it's a little different from the original God of Wars because not so
totally
many
different.
like big battles. Yeah.
No, it's totally different. It's not your
Oh.
regular. It's all behind the back now. Like it's a third-person action game now.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not like an isometric. You know, the original God was isometric, right? He moves around and then he climbs things and you follow him from a almost, not say almost top down, but a perspective change. This one is like purely you just see his back and you fight with like
It's like
a
Mass Effect.
action RPG. It's like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's so good. The good thing is that a lot of people complain about FOV in the original God of War because it's only like 60 FOV in the original. So it's like his whole body covers like half the screen. But the good thing about PC is you can adjust the FOV to like 90 or something. So that helps a lot. So when it's on sale, trust me, get God of War.
It's on my wish list. Yeah.
Okay. Next topic on top. But let's talk a bit about parenting. Then if we can, we'll go back to the game part. Okay, because Zhif has 2 kids, and I think there's something that as our audience knows, like Marv and I have daughters. So in a case was similar to you. So your daughter is 28 months and your son is 11. So you had Theodore when your kid, or in a sense, it was quite fast, right, between your 2 kids.
Yes. It definitely feels very fast.
Was it planned?
Yeah, more or less. It was earlier than we expected, but it was planned. Yeah.
As in, you always wanted 2 kids, lah. It's just that the timeline may be different.
I mean, like, yeah, they were planned. Yeah. Yeah.
So
as in, like, at least in we were told that a lot of couples have difficulty conceiving.
Yeah.
So there's like a period of time that most couples will try.
Yeah.
Right. And like basically, like in both cases, ours happened like right at the beginning of the attempt, so to speak.
Lucky you.
You know, it was like very, very fast.
This is like okay, yeah, because Marv had to try for quite long.
Yeah, 2 years.
I'm a bit more normal. I think I tried for 6 months before I got, which I think is more like maybe
yeah,
I'm
6
mean.
months is what we were told. Like, yeah, give yourself a window. You know, then like,
Yeah, and yours is like, oh,
yeah, basically it's like, oh, first try, okay.
wow, yeah. But so tell us about like, what's it like having your second?
You know, I when my son was first born, I wasn't sure. You know, I love my daughter so much, and I was genuinely concerned. Like, how can I
Love.
feel like I love my son the same amount? You know.
Yep.
And it's actually a feeling that grew over time. So I don't know whether that's normal. I suspect it probably is more normal than not. But I felt a bit guilty about that. It's like, you know, I felt like, oh, you need to like love your son at the same 100% level immediately, right? Or in fact, not even immediately, like before he's born, right? You know, but it's not like that. It wasn't like that for me. So it's sort of the feeling grew over time, and then my wife and I are very hands on. So my wife Cheryl, based on what we hear about some of our friends, we sound like we're way more hands on than almost anyone else we know. So I'll give you an example, right? Okay, I have I know someone who regularly sleeps in until like 8+, and their helper does like all the morning routine, all the nighttime routine, and like all of the dirty stuff, and like most of the meals and things like that. And basically, we're not like that, right? I wake up since Alexa was born. I have been waking up at 7 a.m. or trying to wake up at 7 a.m. rather
Sounds familiar.
every single day.
Yep.
Now I wake up my son, and then my wife wakes up Alexa right after that, and I put them both to sleep because when Cheryl got pregnant with Theodore, it was very hard for her to do things like carry Alexa and like bend down and put her to the crib. So I took over doing all of the sleep routine, which starts after dinner with a shower, and then change into pajamas, read a story, etc., etc. So she became very accustomed to having me put her to sleep. This was when Theodore was born when she was 17 months old. So from the time that my wife was pregnant, about 7 or 8 months prior to that, so from like 9 months until now, 2 years, 4 months, I've been putting her to sleep with maybe one or two exceptions every single night. Right, and she won't. She doesn't want to be put to sleep by anybody else, which is nice, but also not nice.
Yeah.
So, which is why I was worried I'll be late for tonight's session, because sometimes her going to sleep can drag out a little bit. Toddlers have this thing where they suddenly decide that they want to find any excuse to drag out the time. I mean, literally. It's not so bad now, but like there was a short period of time where it was like, read one more story, last video, very last video, And then it's like, okay, Alexa, it's time to change your diaper. It's like, I don't want. She'll like sing it to me in like this response, and it's so cute and so frustrating at the same time. And there were definitely some nights where it took a lot longer to put her, to get her to sleep. Like I remember like 1 hour 45 minutes was the
Oh my
record.
goodness.
Yeah. So it used to be very fast. Like now my son is like 30 minutes, shower, read a story, go to sleep. But then when they become toddlers around the age of 2, they start changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
be
know what you
prepared.
mean. I mean, as in, I know what you're saying because I'm kind of going through the same thing, or rather, the start of what you're describing. So,
How old is Meredith?
Meredith is almost 17 months,
Yeah,
and
it starts around 1.5 years.
yeah, she's in
It
her
begins
no
to show up.
phase. So she'll do this. She'll say no, and
Yeah.
she knows what she wants and what she doesn't want. So, for example, like what you said, the nighttime routine. So she has the same routine that we do every night. We'll ask her if she wants milk, then we'll make milk for her. She will ask for a specific song while she's drinking her milk, and then after that we'll read like maybe one or two nighttime stories to her. So Charlene does the nighttime stuff, and then we'll put her to bed. So she goes to sleep on her own. She will ask for because we use a spare phone for white noise, and then she'll go shh like that. So that means that she wants the white noise to be turned on, and then she will point at her cot, and then she will say down down. So she wants to be put in the cot. So yesterday, I wanted to, like, we wanted her to go to bed, and they wanted to start the routine. So I asked her, like I said, so her Chinese name is Zhifeng. So I call her Chinese name, and then I said, do you want your milk? And then she looks at me, and she does this. No. I was like, oh my god, so cute, but you're like, I need you to sleep so I can do my stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's going through that phase lah. I think she's starting. From what people have said, they start off with the no phase, and then after they go to the I don't want phase, when they can say what they want.
They get more literate. They get
Yeah.
more literate and more like hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so. I think it's unique that we all have like daughters as our first, because I don't know about you guys, but like I told Marianne, my wife, I said like I'm okay if I have all daughters because I really like just having. I never thought that I would have a preference, Like whether it's a boy or girl. I mean, definitely if I have a boy in the future, I'm not gonna love him less. But like if you tell me now, like I'll give you like if God tells me I'll give you 3 girls, I'll be like, sure, I guess I wouldn't mind having all 3 girls. But it's just like there's this like dichotomy between like yes, like okay, so recently my whole family went down with COVID. Right. So me, my wife, and my daughter kind of all had COVID. And like it's fine when adults are sick because you can regulate your emotions. But when kids are sick, it's like the worst thing in the world, right? Because they have no idea what the heck is going on with their body. And when they get frustrated, you get frustrated because you can't do anything. Like there's literally nothing for you to do. The most is you can just pump them with paracetamol and just pray for the best. And for her, she was so clingy, right? She would like literally, I would be holding her in my arms. And if I just shift my weight a little bit to one side, she would scream and like grab me even tighter. Right. She's like, don't you dare put me down. Right. And it is like so nice at the same time, but also really annoying
Yeah.
because it's nice that your daughter wants you so much. But at the same time, you can't do anything in your life when they're that way. So
Yeah,
I think it's
I know
yeah,
what you mean.
yeah.
I
So it's
think
just like interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
the other thing that I can at the moment lah, like can really resonate with what Zhif said was that you're saying like you don't know how you're gonna love another kid when you love your first kid so much. So like when I look at Meredith, I'm like, I love you so much. I would do anything for you. I would throw your mother in front of a bus to save you. Just
Sherilyn, are
kidding.
you listening to this?
I would
Sherilyn.
throw myself in front of a bus to save both of them. Just kidding. But yeah, it's like I would do anything for your well-being. She says, "Excuse me." Okay, but anyway, so and so now we are trying to have a second kid. Like we are planning to have a second kid, and I do express this fear that I don't know how where am I going to find more love for a second kid, because I feel like every cell in my body is in love with my daughter. Yeah, and I am afraid that if I have a second kid, what if I don't love the second kid as much? Because they always say like your first kid is like the special one, right? They will always be like the special kid. Yeah, and I think
So,
I think for me, like, to make matters worse, we tried really hard. Like we went through a lot of problems. Yeah, we spent
mhm.
5 figures to get her. Yeah, the other day Sherilyn was like looking through our receipts and just I think she was like packing stuff, and then she counted everything up, and it was 5 figures. Yeah, just up to her birth. Yeah, because we had
Mm,
we had
mm.
problems conceiving, right? Yeah, so I mean it's not the money spent, but it represents the effort that we had to go through
Yeah,
to get her. Yeah, so there's this fear lah. There's this fear.
yeah. I think you'll be all right. I mean, just to relate my own experience. I also I hate to admit this, but I kind of had a preference for girls also. It sounds like in our group, a lot of dads feel this way. So for me, it was like number one. I don't know how I can love my second kid as much as the first one. Like where I know what you mean. It's like you feel like there's not enough room in your heart, so to speak. But not just that. It was like our second kid was a boy, right? And like I don't know how to show like love and affection to a boy, right? Feels a bit weird, right? But I'm very happy to say that it has since I have since sort of like had all of my concerns totally dispelled. Um, and I think just don't worry. My what I would say is just don't worry so much. It'll come naturally.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know how it works. I didn't go through I didn't really do anything or go through a process or whatever.
Yeah.
But
It's just natural, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing about love is that love doesn't. It's not subtractive or additive. It's not like you only have like a pie, and
Yeah,
then if you want to
correct.
give it to two people, you need to cut the pie in half and then give it to two
Yeah,
different.
you
In
can
terms of
always
like
have
our
more.
capacity for
Yeah,
love, yeah, it's that's the weird thing about love is that it's constantly growing. And as like I mean, it's like how I can love. It's the same thing, right? We all agree that the love for our wives is not the same as the love for our kids. But it doesn't mean we love our wives less just because we have a kid. Although they might feel that way. Are we nothing to you anymore? Like throwing people literally under the bus. So you were talking just now just about how, now your daughter is 28 months, so she's in her terrible twos. Do you want to share a little bit, maybe give us a little heads up on like what's to come, or like what when it started changing? Because right, to be fair, it's changing for us now because like the first year, all your baby does is just da, and like it's just cute. They don't do anything. There's no like actual emotional interaction, minus for that occasional smile. But then when you hit like the first to second year, that's when they start to actually interact with you. And then like you said, it goes into the no phase. So maybe I don't know. Share with us your infinite wisdom.
I don't have infinite wisdom, but I can share a little from my personal experience. Okay, so I mean, like just toddlers, right? They are a lot more aware of what's going on. Some of the literature I've read tells us that toddlers have a very egocentric view of the world. So they like if they want a toy, it's theirs. If it's broken, it's not theirs. If they see anything that they like, it automatically belongs to them, kind of thing. It's like a very self-centered or egocentric view of how the world works, and I think it's just a part of their natural development. Um, they're always like testing boundaries and like pushing limits. So I think that's one of the reasons why they are traditionally seen as very hard to manage at this age. So you need to manage yourself, right? So like there are all these tricks you can read up about online or follow like some good Instagram accounts. Of course, you can read a book too, but Instagram is the next best thing if you don't have time. Then they'll tell you things like give them choices. Make sure that there are two choices that you're okay with either outcome, kind of thing. Be firm but gentle, right? These sorts of techniques. Telling them the plan is very helpful. So basically, like, okay, Alexa, this is the last story. Daddy's gonna read you one last story. Then after this, Daddy will pick you up, and then we're going to open the curtains and look at the neighbors, and then she likes to see the neighbors, and then we're gonna drink some water, and then Daddy will say a prayer with you, and then we will sing Twinkle Star, and then I'm gonna put you down to bed, and now Daddy will tuck you in. I mean, she knows all this. She's been doing this every single freaking night for like a year and a half, but like it's telling them the plan ahead of time helps. It's kind of like setting expectations, right?
Mm.
Now it's not going to work 100% of the time, so a lot of the time she's still going to like ask for um one more story, and then when she doesn't get it, she's going to cry, like the fake cry. I'm assuming at this point you can sort of tell like when they are actually in emotional distress versus they are
Yeah.
just not getting their way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like something that happened relatively recently is this thing about she keeps requesting more and more stories, and like that was one of the ways in which I think she was trying to, do more before she goes to sleep, or maybe doesn't want to go to sleep at all. And for like about a week or maybe 2 weeks, I don't really remember. I just, she would do like that whining, crying thing when I tell her no, we cannot do this, but I'll just explain to her very calmly, but very, very firmly. So I refuse to budge, even though I feel like, okay, fine, I should just give her this one story to like, keep her quiet, right? It feels like that. But if you do that, then she knows, okay, it works. I can push the boundary, right? And for like 1 or 2 weeks, it was very painful. For that like 5 minutes when she was crying, I tried some techniques like distracting her with like wanting to go and look at the neighbors because she likes to look at the neighbors at night, even though there's nothing happening at the neighbor's house. Um, and then all of a sudden, one night she's just like, no crying. I just picked her up and she was okay. Yeah, but then shortly after, she invented another technique to extend the which is something I'm dealing with now.
Yeah.
Where she's trying to talk to me a lot after I put her into bed and tuck her in.
Yeah.
So usually I will tuck her in and then I'll say like night night Alexa, then I will turn off the lights and leave. And
Yeah.
at this point, now
She's talking.
she's talking to me a lot,
Trying
you
to keep
know.
you
So
there.
so yeah, so like there were like maybe like half a week where it was like working really well, and then she came up with another technique. So yeah, so I think toddlers are just like that. It's really about remembering, you know, that they don't know how to emotionally regulate. They
Yeah.
don't know how to express themselves.
Yeah.
She's at an age now where she's quite verbally she's quite articulate for her age, I think. At least our teachers, like her teachers, tell us that. So sometimes when she wants something, or when she say like or doesn't want something, or is uncomfortable or whatever, she will get into this mode where she whines. Um, so we read up that you can tell her something like, you know, Alexa, mommy and daddy cannot understand what you want when you are crying, you know, or when you're whining. Why don't you tell us what you want, like with your real voice? You know, why don't you use your words? And it doesn't work all the time, but sometimes she will be able to. I mean, she can definitely understand what we're saying, right? Whether she's processing it because
Yeah.
she's also crying at the same time, whether she registers it in her mind is a totally different thing. But if she manages to register it, sometimes she will understand, and then she will like calm down a little, and then trying to articulate, you know, in a few words or one or two words what's going on, right? So it's a journey, right? That doesn't work most of the time at the moment, but I think it's something that we just try to apply, and then eventually, I think, or we hope, she will learn better how to. She will learn that when she wants or does not want something, she can use her words to articulate what's going on for her. Yeah, so these are just some of the techniques that, you know, my wife and I have learned and are trying to apply. I We're only 4 months into 2 years old, so I don't know how the rest of year three is going to go. I've been told by friends with slightly older kids that it doesn't stop at
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Uh, just
Three
it just
nature.
evolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible twos to three nature.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, all in, I think, you know, Alexa is she seems quite relatively easy to manage, all told. Because I do hear some horror stories from other friends. It sounds more challenging to manage. I think part of that could be because Alexa, personality wise, she's quite attached to us.
Yeah.
And she actually is like, she does listen to what we say. We know this because she sometimes repeats things to herself verbally, and her teachers at school tell us that she repeats certain things to herself that we know that we have told her.
Mhm.
You know, so
Mm.
we know that she's listening to
It's a
us.
way to like self-discipline, right? Or to
Yeah, I think maybe
self-guidance.
like self-regulate. I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, but I mean, like it's an insight to us because
Yeah.
it shows us that she's actually hearing and understanding and remembering what we say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's actually like, you know, she listens to us all told, you know, but of course she's still going to be playful
Yeah.
and push boundaries
So
like any toddler
so
should, right?
Meredith actually does that because we like Shirley and I have been doing what you do from a very like young age. When she cries, I will tell her like what do you want? You tell me. Use your words, even though she can't really
Mm,
talk. But
mm,
it's helping now because she's building up her vocab, right? So if she
mm,
wants like to open something and she's like whining to me, and then I'll tell her you need to use your words because I don't understand you, and then she will say open, or she'll say kai in Chinese lah. So she's kind of learning uh what we've been trying to drill into her over the last few months, even though when we started she can't talk. And what you said about, her repeating things, Meredith does it also. So for example,
mm,
we don't let her touch the TV console because it's glass. Like whenever she goes near it, we'll tell her like, no, you can't touch that. So Charlene has actually witnessed her walk up to the thing, and then she will go,
No,
no,
no.
no, and then she'll walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
so cute.
yeah, so they can actually like understand you even
Yeah.
though they're so young, which I'm really amazed. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I think we talked about this previously with another father, with my brother-in-law on the whole other podcast. Like trying to babies aren't like us, right? Kids don't have our sense of morality. And as parents, sometimes when we discipline them, when we tell them no, there's like different levels of why we say no, right? Firstly, it could be a moral decision, like don't do this because it's a wrong thing to do.
Yep.
Right. Then the second decision is like it's a dangerous thing to do. We don't do this because it's dangerous. But then there's a third level, which is the one that my brother-in-law shared, which I realize is true, is that whatever you do, we tell you not to do it because it creates more fuss for me. Right? Like let's say if you dirty the floor, right? Technically, it's not wrong in a sense, but you create more fuss or more stuff for me to clean up. But then at the same time, then it's just teaching them these boundaries, right? And that, like you said, at this age, they have no boundaries, so they're just trying as much as they can and see what sticks on the wall, right? They're just throwing things and seeing what sticks. I think for me, my Rebecca is like on the lower end. She doesn't say anything except for mama and dada. That's all she says right now, which I find really cute. But at the same time, I know she's aware of certain things now because like she does stuff like that. She'll go to the TV and she'll like, like she'll stop there because she knows it's wrong as well. But I think for me the challenging part is when your kid doesn't speak. How do you
Mm.
and how you know to draw the line between what actually is wrong and what you want to teach them is an actual boundary, and what is just inconvenient for me as a parent, because I think there is that line which I find it hard to draw sometimes. Like, but of
Mm.
course, like for example, okay, so today I fed my daughter lunch today, and she has this very bad habit where she'll take her food that you give it to her, and she'll pick it up and she'll throw it on the floor. Right, and
How
when
old
I
is
look at
she?
her, she's 14 months,
14,
almost
14 to
15 months.
15.
Okay.
She's 2 months younger than Meredith. So I look at her and tell her, no, don't throw on the floor. But it's also I have to keep feeding her, right? Because I want her to eat. So like in my mind I thought, do I go to the point where she throws, I tell her 3 times. You throw 3 times, then no more food already. Right. That would be what I have in my mind.
Mm.
But at the same time in my mind I'm also thinking, but then if she
She,
doesn't eat lunch,
yeah.
she's gonna be
And she,
horrible
she
for
may
the
not
rest of.
understand the 3 times thing.
Yeah, and I also don't know, does she actually know what I mean when she throws it? I say no. Then I do this no, no, no. Like no, no throwing. Is she aware that I'm not playing? Because to me, she could just be thinking I'm playing with her. No, no, no. She's like touching my finger. Like, are you playing
Yeah.
with me? No, she doesn't know, right? But then all of a sudden she thinks I'm playing. Then I take her food away, and then I scold her and I put her down on the floor. She's like, "What the heck just happened?" So I
Right.
think that's my challenge. But I guess when your kid is older, then you don't have this issue anymore. Right?
Hmm. Well, you will have the issue just in different ways.
Yeah, that's true.
So actually, I do have some advice on that. Okay.
Mm,
Because my wife and I used a baby-led weaning approach for Alexa, so not the traditional Singaporean,
yeah.
you know, porridge and puree approach. So since she began eating solids, she more or less, as much as possible, we let her feed herself. I think this has definitely reaped certain benefits for us today. She is a very adventurous eater.
Mm,
She doesn't eat everything, but she will try almost anything.
mm,
Um, and she's perfectly capable of feeding herself. Although, of course, a lot of the time she will ask to be fed, even though she can totally feed herself. Um, it does create a bit of a mess sometimes, but um, okay. So one of the things that we try to do is to minimize using the word no. So in your case, an example of how we would do that is, okay. So sometimes throwing food on the floor. I can't remember the exact age anymore. I knew all these like milestones and developmental ages for Alexa. Now for Theodore, it's just like, oh, maybe he's having a bad
Second
day.
one
I have
already,
no,
is that right?
I forgot everything already. Okay, so yeah. Uh, but they can do it sometimes because they're exploring cause and effect. They're like,
yeah.
oh, if I drop this off the high chair, it splats on the floor and it's funny. Or they can be doing it because they know it gets your attention, and kids at that age always want
Yeah.
the parents' attention.
Yep.
So actually, when you react to them throwing food on the floor, whether it's positive or negative attention, it's still attention to them,
Yeah.
and they want more. Okay, so what we were told, or what we learned, is that you try not to have any emotional reaction to when they throw things on the floor. So you make it a non-issue. That's first. So you just literally like just ignore it. Okay?
Pretend that nothing happened.
Yeah. Then but then you can say calmly and gently like, okay, I don't know what you call her, Rebecca. Food stays on the table. So that's a way of telling her that where the food is supposed to go without saying no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put on a different set of headphones because my AirPods are dying. But keep going.
That's how long the podcast has been on, guys. It's so long that our guests' AirPods are dying.
Maybe it's just a sign of the AirPod.
We had the
Give me a
same.
second.
We had a similar
Yeah,
issue.
go ahead.
So Meredith recently, right? She likes to stick her finger up her nose and just leave it there. So initially, like I think the standard reaction is you take her finger out and then you say no, like that's dirty. You don't do that. But we kept doing it, and then she kept like sticking it back into her nose, and then we realized that even though we were telling her like we were pushing it down and saying no, but she thought we were playing a game with her. She was getting attention. So Shirley and we decided that we won't have any reaction whenever she does it. So this went on for like maybe a couple of days. Every time she did it, she looked at us. We just pretend we didn't see anything. And then after like 2 days, she just stopped doing it totally. And I was like, wow, so easy.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. Because I realized when you throw something, so every time she drops something, we always go, oh, like we say oh, right? Then now she's also starting to copy. Now she'll purposely throw something on the floor. Like then she'll go, oh. And I'm like, woman, you just dropped it and you said you can't do it when you do it on purpose, right? But she doesn't understand this, right? So maybe you're right. Maybe she's throwing the food and she look at me and she's like, oh, like she's so maybe I do have to like not just kind of like ignore it, like not have the emotional reaction to it, and just look at her, and then I'm sure eventually she'll get bored, right? And then she'll just realize that it has to go. But I mean, because so when she doesn't want to eat, no lah, no. So my wife said on Twitch chat that she throws the food when she doesn't want anymore. But I don't think that's true all the time because today when I fed her, like she will intermittently throw and intermittently eat. So one piece she'll throw, the next piece she'll put in her mouth. One piece she'll throw. Then I was like, what are you doing? Then after that, so she has this weird habit as well. Like after she's done with her food, right? I was like, okay. So obviously when I get her out of the high chair, right? There's all this food on the ground because she has just made it her littering place. She'll go to the food and she'll pick it up and she'll put it into her mouth.
Oh my goodness.
On the floor. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is the food you chose. So maybe you're right. I think it's something we can try. Like not having the
be a bunch of things. So they definitely do have a tendency to play with their food when they're not so hungry. From in the baby-led weaning approach, right? And I recognize that's not something that you guys may be doing or applying all the time, right? So different approaches, but in the baby-led weaning approach, you end the meal if they display signs that they're not interested, right? And that's also teaching them that there's a consequence to their actions, right? So that could be happening for sure, and I think it's up to the parent to tell the difference, right? And then I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Yeah,
It's okay.
but I mean,
When it comes to
so there are times when for Alexa, like even today, sometimes she will play instead of eat, right? For whatever reason, maybe she's just not so hungry or whatever.
Yeah.
Then sometimes we will just end the meal. Yeah.
Yeah. So does she
Yeah,
come
of
to you
course,
and say
you
that
always
she's
worry
hungry
about.
after? Oh, yeah lah.
Yeah, of course, you will always worry about that. So Alexa's very a little bit on the petite side. She's a little bit small. So we worry a lot about her calorie intake.
Yeah.
But she's otherwise hitting all her developmental milestones fine. So yeah, we try not to worry too much about it, and it's a bit better now.
Yeah. So maybe we can like end it off soon. by just this last question, which is, I know it's a very broad question, but what do you think makes a good father? That's the question I ask myself. I know it's so broad, right?
Yeah.
Because so for me, like I don't know like whether you know, like I'm a missionary, so I'm a Christian, and it's, as you know, the Bible is completely bereft of good paternal examples. There is literally only one good father in the Bible, and his name is God. Right? Yahweh. Right? Every other, like if you read the Bible, every father is just bad. Even the heroes of the Bible who are fathers are bad. So like I always struggle to take examples from the Bible. But what do you think? You don't need, I mean, there's a lot of things that make a good father, but I guess all of us can answer. What do you think is like, particularly now in your season, that you struggle with, that you think would make you a better father?
Okay, so um, I've been married to Cheryl for just a little over 3 years. Our third anniversary was in October. And we've had our share of challenges. We didn't date for a very long time before we got married, about 1.5 years before we were engaged, I think. Then another 1 year. Okay, so in total we've been together for about 6 years. Um, in short, what I want to say is that I think the first thing is to make sure that the first part of being a good father is to be a good husband. And this is a part of the Bible that, so I'm Christian as well, and actually I know certain parts of the Bible really well. I've led like some Bible studies before, but I have to confess, when it comes to what is the role of a husband, I know nothing about that theology, and not just theology, but how to translate that into real life. And I am only realizing 3 years after the fact that I really need to understand better what is the biblical perspective on how to be a good husband. So that's the first thing, I think. And to me, the mother and father are always the foundation of the family and the center of the family, not the children, which I think is a dynamic that has been turned upside down by millennials in our generation, right? Where we always, I mean, you hear of stories where parents will do like anything for their kids. And I think that's teaching them the wrong thing, because it's teaching kids that they are the center of the world. And they're going to have a lot of problems when they become adults, because then they're going to work for a company, and then other adults are going to need to teach them all these things that the parents did not teach them for the last 18 years or the last 22 years. Okay, so I think good husband is the first step. Then second, I think, okay, so for me personally, I choose to be a very hands-on father. I do a lot of the mundane duties, and I actually regard that as important bonding time. So like I feed my kids, shower them, change them, everything, everything, right? I mean, I don't literally do every single thing for them in the day. Like I share it with my wife or with our helper, but um, yeah, I do a lot of the duties. Okay, so that's just a personal choice. I don't think that's like a requirement to be a good father. For me, what I think of when I think about my children's future is I want to two main things. First, I want to make sure that they know God. So that's from the Christian perspective. But I don't want to. I grew up in a family that goes to church, a Christian family, so to speak. But I don't think I really knew God until much later in my life, because it's something that I sort of just took for granted as a norm. I don't want to repeat that mistake for them, so I want them to have God in their lives, but I also want to do it in a way such that they can make their own decision about it. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. They need to make their own personal choice about whether they really believe or not. I can't force them to believe. And the second main thing for me is I want to impart to them the right character, because I feel and I believe that if I can equip them with the things they need to be the right kind of person, then in the future, whether I'm around or not, when they face challenges or difficulties or adversity of any kind, or even the opposite of that, if they face, euphoric, delightful times, they will always remember the, what kind of person they want to be or they should be. And I believe that if you can equip them with that, if you can help them to, I don't know, foster like a certain kind of wisdom that they choose to live their lives with, then I believe that they will be able to meet any challenge in life, especially if they also have God in their lives. So that's what I think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marv,
How to do that in practice?
Oh, that's
still figuring
hard.
it
That's
out.
that's that's the challenging part.
Yeah. Actually, no, I can say something about that. It requires me to actually do most of the work on myself because um, one of the best ways I believe to impart something like that is to be like that, to model that, right? So that's also sort of part of being a good husband to my wife, because if I can show my kids that I am a good husband to my wife, then they'll understand. For example, this is what a marriage is supposed to look like, and hopefully that translates to them not making a huge mistake when they choose a life partner, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I always think like the schema that they inherit from the parents is very, very important.
Mm.
So I think a lot of the application has to be results in me
Yeah.
having to work out my own flaws and my own kinks.
Marv, do you have anything?
I agree with what just said, especially the part where, you know, he said like the husband and wife, the mother and father are actually the nucleus of the family, right? Yeah. I mean, I say things like, I would do anything for my daughter, but that's in terms of like her well-being and her safety lah. But I wouldn't give her everything that she wants without her working for it. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
what it means. So
Clarify, Sherilyn, clarify.
I also like subscribe to this belief because I've read this article a long time ago before I became a dad, that the this idea that that the children are the center of your universe or the center of your family is something that shouldn't be perpetuated. The center of your family should be your partner, your wife, and your children are what they form the surrounding. Yeah, because the family stems from you and your partner, correct? Yeah, so if you don't take care of your partner, if you take care of your kids, then you you are not, or you are causing the family nucleus to degrade because you're neglecting your partner. So yeah, I do agree and subscribe to this belief lah. For me, the other thing that I always like believe, I think I've spoken about this before, and I've told our friend Jamie when she asked for like advice about being a parent, is that as a dad, as a father, I think society always says that, or always has this impression that when a father does something, it's like, wow, you're such a great father. You are doing, chores. You're picking up slack. Yeah. So something that I've always like believed in, and I think like if I were to summarize it in one sentence, is that it's a privilege to be a dad. It's not a duty. It's not a chore to do fatherly duties, fatherly stuff, or anything in the family, but it's a privilege. So yeah, I think if anybody asks me like what's the most important thing that I would tell them about fatherhood, is that like treasure the privilege to be a dad. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Agree.
think I agree to whatever all you guys said. I think from um just from my perspective, I think the hardest part for me right now is to be present in whatever my daughter does, because I think when I'm taking care of her, right, it can be very easy for me to be distracted by a lot of different small things, right? And I think when she's young, it doesn't matter. in a sense, because she doesn't know, right? But when you can tell when they're older that they know that you're not with them. I just if I project my relationship with my daughter like 10, not even 10, 5 years down the line, like what do I see is I want my daughter to be able to confide in me in with her secrets, with things that like the way I see it is that the world we live in today is super messed up. The world that she's going to live in 18 years from now is going to be even more messed up, right? And it's my job as her dad to not just protect her, but in order to impart with her that protection, I need to teach her the right values, the right thinking, the right way to process her own emotions, her own how does she create her own value system. It's not my job to give her the value system, although I think that's part of it, but it's also for her to create her own value system in a way that she has it on her own, and I know she gets it from a healthy place. So I want my daughter when she's 6 years old to tell me about this boy that she thinks is cute in class. Like I want to be that father that hears about all these things. And it might seem very mundane, but like I think it can slip away from me very easily if I just let it go. And not be involved in her life. And I always and like so like recently with the whole COVID episode, I think like my whole family, my wife and I got very stressed. My wife said 6 years old, crush. I don't know. But I think like with my daughter being sick and us just being very stressed, I think it can be very easy to just remember all the bad stuff that happens. Like especially when you're in the bad crap, you just think about all this sucks. Like I wish things were better. But I think it's also important for me as a father to be the person who kind of pulls everybody afloat, my wife included, and my kids in the future as well, to say to them that hey, like don't just be in the mud and like be face deep in it and feel like you're drowning, but like just look up a bit and you realize that everything's kind of okay. Yeah, so I view that as my responsibility as a dad, because I think as parents we all have shared responsibilities, right? What my wife does, I can't do, and it's not a matter. No, not can't. It's not a matter of ability. It's a matter of responsibility, just delegation of roles. And so yeah, I think it's a little bit different. And I look forward to having this chat with you guys again when my kid is a teenager. Or terrible too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you whether she throws food next time. Maybe instead of
Yeah.
throwing food on the floor next time, she'll throw it in my face.
You know, I want to recommend a book. It's
Sure.
called Parenting with Love and Logic, because I was trying to answer this question: how do you equip them with with what I said, like the ability to navigate the world on their own? So the idea behind this book, which I didn't realize it when I bought it, but I think it actually is written by some Christian authors, but there's almost no like biblical stuff in it. Basically, it gives a framework for how you can um, let your kids make decisions for themselves starting from now, right? When they're like 1 year old, and then until they're adults, which is like say like when they're 18, right? And so it's a it's about presenting them choices and allowing them to make up their own minds about what they choose among those choices. And then, of course, when they're at this age, it's very trivial stuff like, okay, do you want to wear the pink socks or the blue socks? Okay, but it's a moment that you can use to teach them, even though it's just the mundane task of putting on a sock. Then, of course, when they're 6 years old, it could be something more serious, right? It's like, okay, you said you want ice cream. We can't have ice cream today, but would you like to have this cake or this cookie example, right? If for whatever reason you don't want to give them ice cream, but then so you have to be comfortable with both of those choices, but you allow them to choose, right? Or it could be something like, what would a 6 year old understand? Okay, do you want to wear your rain boots today, or do you want to wear your flip flops? And then maybe they choose their flip flops, then they walk around half the day with wet feet. Okay, then that's how they learn through the natural consequences that I should have chosen my rain boots, right? And then, of course, I think one of the premises is that by the time they become teenagers, around 12 to 13, they still seek somebody to listen to, except it's no longer you. Now they're going to turn to their friends or to their peers. And you hope that they don't have bad influences, right? So how are you going to equip them to make those decisions, to understand the consequences of those decisions by the time they're 13 years old? And this is what that book, is trying to teach. So I would recommend that. If you have a better suggestion, I would love to hear it.
Oh, that's I found this very interesting because I have a friend who, and I'm gonna steal this from him, but with his kids, right, when they turn 4 or 5, I can't remember the age, he actually gives them a choice of a dessert, right? And this dessert, he gives them a choice between chocolate and ice cream. I mean, because for kids, right, what else is there? And he tells them, for this entire year, you choose one.
Wow.
So if you choose one, you cannot have the other.
Wow.
Yeah, for the whole year. Which I think
Wow.
is quite a cool concept, right? I mean, it sounds difficult. So but you're right. It goes back to the choices aspect. Like there are times where he sees. So he has 3 kids, right? So he sees his tete eat chocolate because his tete chose chocolate that year, and he can't eat the chocolate that day because he chose ice cream, and there's no ice cream that day. So he has to watch his sister eat
Oh my
chocolate.
goodness.
But of course, there are other days where he gets to eat ice cream, and his tete has to watch him eat ice cream where she can't eat
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right. So it's a bit extreme, but I think
Yeah.
it's not just a single consequence, right? It's a consequence that will last you the whole year. So like I remember I think he told me before, like he literally took, like, the kids will treat this decision with like great trepidation. Like they take like long time to figure out, do I really want chocolate or do I want ice cream? Because it affects them for the whole year.
Wow,
So
that's very
it's hardcore, right?
extreme. Yeah.
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 We'll see. I'll steal that maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
not for a
I
year.
recommend the book. It goes through a lot of different scenarios. It goes through the framework first, and then the second half of the book is actually applying it to scenarios,
Yeah.
including, of course, video game addiction.
I'll ask my kid, do you want the PS or do you want the PC? You can only choose one.
The choice is obvious. Come on.
Yeah, just come on, just choose. It doesn't even.
PC Master Race.
No, but because they're friends, they'll choose the PS because their friends play
Do you
it.
want Pink
And
Form or do you want Coco Melon? You can only choose one.
when they reach the age, right, they'll just be playing Horizon Zero
Yeah.
Dawn
No, they're playing
5 on their
mobile
phones.
games, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
playing on their phones.
Yeah.
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 So, well, we'll find out when we get there. Anyway, any closing thoughts? Do you guys want to say or share? That's about.
No, I think it was a really good conversation. We haven't had
Yeah.
had an in-depth parenting talk in a while.
The
Yeah.
dad part portion of it.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. Yeah, it's been great.
No, thanks for coming, bro. It's good to hear different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if not, thank you guys for coming to our podcast. Remember to subscribe,
and
follow our
subscribe.
podcast, subscribe, our Instagram or Facebook, like this podcast on wherever you found it, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.